Hello everyone. This video is related to economics of master degree. Uh, this can be used for even in class 12 and graduation also. The basic thing of this is theory of consumer behavior. Now, uh, consumer choices concerning to utility. Our focus will be this on this thing. See, first of all, consumer choice concerning utility. Now, consumer chooses when they get utility from a commodity. Now, they try to maximize their utility from the consumption of any bundle of goods. The utility can be measured, and the maximum utility which a consumer gets, the point can be studied or analyzed on two basic methods that are cardinal approach and ordinal approach. In this video we will particularly discuss about the cardinal approach. Now, first important thing is why. Why should we study the cardinal approach? Now, we need to understand what is a market demand. Market demand in economics, we need to understand what is market demand. Even if you are thinking of doing some business, whatever, you need to understand what is the market demand. Now, market demand is a sum total of all the demand of the consumers in a market, and that is the individual demand. Behavior of individual consumer, which depends upon the behavior of individual consumer. So we need to understand, if we want to understand market demand, we need to understand individual demand, and individual demand is behavior of individual consumer. Now, individual consumer behaves depending upon the choice they make. Consumer choosing behavior. And how does it choose? It chooses those bundle of goods, those commodities where they get the maximum satisfaction. So their choices are dependent upon the utility. And this utility is studied uh, by two basic methods, that is the cardinal approach and the ordinal approach. If we keep it in a flow chart, so we need to understand what is market demand. In order to understand market demand, we need to understand individual demand. Individual demand is based on the behavior of the individual consumer, and the consumer choices of the consumer, what behavior they choose to consume goods, and this behavior is totally dependent upon the utility they derive, and the utility can be studied under cardinal approach or under ordinal approach. Now let's go to the cardinal approach. Now, why it is called a cardinal approach? It is called a cardinal approach because in this, the first assumption is that the utility is measured in cardinal terms, that is utils, that is measured in terms of money. The amount of money we are ready to spend for the utility we derive from a product is the utility, is the measurement of the utility. So in this, we take the yardstick of money to measure the utility we derive. Later on, we'll understand how this approach works. But first, let's understand some of the assumption it makes while explaining the approach. First, rational. The consumers are considered to be rational. Their choices, their consumer behavior are governed by rational and logical reasoning. It is not that they pick and choose randomly, but they choose where they get the most utility, the maximum utility. That is, a consumer is a utility maximizing person. Taste and preference, they also it also depends upon the taste and preference, but however, the taste and preference is fixed, it's not keep changing. Like for example, when we keep talking about this cardinal approach, we cannot just shift from one taste and preference to another taste very frequently. No, here When we are dealing with cardinal approach, we need to assume that the taste and preference of the consumer is fixed. Marginal utility is diminishing in the normal goods, in all the normal goods, as we understand that the marginal utility diminishes. All right, and as we consume, for example, if we like mangoes, if we have mango, first mango will give us very lot of satisfaction and utility. Second mango will not give me as much as the first one. The third one will not give me as much as the second one, and so on. And the utility and the satisfaction derived from it will diminish. Utility is measurable. It is, I've told you already that it's cardinal approach. So the first thing we assume is that the utility is measurable. We measure the utility in terms of money, and it has been the unit which is used is utils. Marginal utility of money is constant. Now, this approach will not work if we do not keep the marginal utility of the money constant, because money for one person might be having another difference than the other person. A person who with good amount of money will not think a bit in losing a few hundreds or something, but a person who is having very less money, even little money loss will make them worry. So the utility of money is not constant for everyone. However, in this approach, we assume that the utility of money is constant. We are not changing that. Now let's go on to the approach. Consumer equilibrium with one good. In this approach, cardinal approach, we assume that the consumer is consuming only one good. He is not going to consume 10 goods at a time. He is consuming only one good at this instance. Now, let's understand this approach with the help of an example. Imagine that you are traveling on a train, and the train is going through a very deep forest. And in the middle of the forest, the train breaks down, and it suddenly stops. Nobody's there, no station nearby, 10-20 kilometers to the to the to the either side of the train, and it has stuck there. So it remains there for 2, 3, 4 hours, and what happens? Whatever water, whatever food you have, it gets exhausted. Now, let's assume. That a vendor comes and starts selling water in the train. Now, how much money would you be ready to pay? Now, considering the fact that you are stuck in a jungle, you may not be getting some water or other relief very soon. Mm? And you desperately need water. Now, how much water would you be ready to give for one bottle, the first bottle rather? Now, this is a graph. I'll come to it, the graph, later on. Now, in the first bottle, you'll be ready to pay $10. So let's say $10. Because why are you ready to pay $10? Why aren't you ready to pay the amount of money which is the price of it? Because you desperately need it, and there's no water nearby, and you think that this is the first thing which you need. And here the power of the seller is more, and he can dictate the terms. And if he says that I'll be selling at 10 rupees, you'll be ready to pay that. However, so you're ready to pay $10. That means you're deriving a satisfaction of $10, worth $10, 10 utils rather. He comes again, and he tries to sell one more bottle to you. Now this bottle, how much would you pay for the next bottle? I'm sure you won't be ready to pay the $10 which you were ready to pay, because you are getting lesser satisfaction from the second bottle, depending upon the law of diminishing marginal utility. In the third bottle, in the same way, the utility derived will be further less, and say you will get a utility of around 10 utils, that is $10. Sorry, $5. $5 as shown in the table. In the fourth unit, you will be getting a utility of $2. In the fifth unit, you will be getting a utility of $1, and in the sixth bottle, you won't be ready to pay anything. You will be sick of that vendor, and will say, no, I'm not going to take any more bottle. But however, I'm not going to pay any more money for it. However, if the vendor says, okay, I give it for free, you would rather take it, because you don't know what will happen next, because the train is stuck in the jungle. However, on the seventh bottle, you will be mad at the vendor, and you will not be ready to pay anything. Rather, you will not get any utility, but you will be getting a minus utility, negative utility. That will be your discomfort. If you have extra bottles like that, you'll have to carry it. If we take it in the example of, say, mangoes, in this case, which we spoke about, the first mango would give you good amount of satisfaction. Second, little lesser. Third, little lesser. Fourth, you might take it anyways. Fifth would make you sick, and that making you sick goes to the negative zone, which is represented here by -1. So this is the utility which you are deriving, and it is having diminishing marginal utility. Now let's go to the graph. Now you can see it's a thin line. All right, we can make it out. Next time I'll be making a thicker line. I'll make note of that. However, let's do it. So the y-axis is the price and the utility, and the x-axis represents the quantity which is being consumed. Now, the line which you see is the price. That is the price. Now, you can see in the table that no matter how much utility we derive from a product, the price of a good is fixed. In a perfectly competitive market, the price remains unchanged. No matter what the condition is, the price is going to remain same. This is one of the assumption which I missed out in the assumption list. That whenever we are studying this, we are studying under the perfectly competitive market, and in perfectly competitive market, the prices are fixed. So the price is fixed. Now, at what level of consumption would the consumer would derive the maximum satisfaction? Now, to determine this, it's a very simple exercise. Now, let's say these are the utility, and these are the quantities. Now, first commodity. He will be consuming the first unit, and it will give him $10 worth utility. On the second consumption, he will be give me a second. Yes. All right, so so this will give you this is the graph again. All right. So first unit will give you 10 utils. Second will give you 8 utils. Third will give you third unit. Third unit will give you around 5 utils. You can see here. Next, fourth unit will give you 2 utils of satisfaction, and the next one will give you 1 util of satisfaction, and the next will give you 0 util of satisfaction, and the seventh one will give you a negative satisfaction. See, we can see it -1 here. Now the question arises, where will a consumer stop consuming? Why, up till where it will continue to consume? Now simple logic is that for the first unit we are paying $2 and we are getting $10 worth of satisfaction. In the second, should we do that? Yes, we will consume that because we are getting more satisfaction. In the second, we are consuming and getting $8 worth satisfaction, whereas the price is $2 and we are getting excess of utility. In the third, again, $2 we are paying and getting $5 worth satisfaction. In the fourth one, $2 and we are getting $2 worth satisfaction. Both the price and the consumption and the utility consumed have the same value. In the next one, we are paying $2, all right, but we are getting a satisfaction of $1 only, and that is the point where we will not go forward. We will be rather at point 4. That is the fourth consumption, and here you can see the equilibrium being posted here. So this is the point where the consumer will stop consuming, since that's the point he's making the maximum satisfaction with the given amount of price of the commodity. He won't go further down this line because he is paying more and getting less of satisfaction. Who's going to do that? Because the consumer is a rational person. He depends upon the logics. I hope you understood this topic. Press the like button and the subscribe button if you liked it. Thank you very much.